New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, there on the right of your screen, defending his use of a beach closed to the public during the state's government shutdown. That picture says a lot. The Republican governor was photographed yesterday by NJ.com at Island Beach State Park, sitting on a beach chair in sandals and a t-shirt before flying to Trenton to talk to reporters. He says he planned to be at the state-owned governor's house on the beach, regardless of the shutdown situation.
There's no one at Island Beach State Park. There are no lifeguards. There's no one to pick up the garbage. There's no one providing any services at Island Beach State Park. So my question is, next. Excuse me, next. I'm done. We're talking about the closure of government, and you're talking about your TMZ stuff.
Well, Christie is locked in a battle against the Democratic-controlled state legislature over the New Jersey state budget. Suraj Hashmi with Red Alert Politics back with us to discuss. One of my favorite quotes is from the governor's spokesperson. When asked if the governor got any sun, he said no, he was wearing a hat. This thing is spiraling out of control for Governor Christie.
I mean, he's not up for reelection. I mean, he's not going to run again. For Chris Christie, that's pretty much, he's in the DGAF mode. He doesn't care. Of course, it's not great optics, but at the same time, he's at least part of that, the Republicans who were pro-Trump before everyone else was. So I think he's pretty much sealed. Whatever his job possibilities are next, I think is probably will be part of the administration in some regard.
Right, and I mean, this story inevitably will follow him if he wants to continue a life of public
ever
service.
Since Bridgegate, I mean, he can, even though he was not implicated in Bridgegate, that's followed him since then, since the whole shutdown on George Washington Bridge. So, you know, with Christie and with Trump, you know, they both might engage in the sport of bad optics from time to time, but like it's never really going to hurt them politically.
Gotcha. Let's move on and talk about health care in the Senate. Senators are off this week. They'll be back to, not off, they're in their home districts, their home states. They'll be back into D.C. next week. What do we expect when they take back up the issue of health care? Do we seriously think we're going to be looking at a repeal-only bill, or will they try to modify this McConnell bill a little bit more? Well,
you're hearing more calls from the four senators who are holding out: Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and other name is escaping me at the moment, but they're looking for that repeal-only bill and then replace later. I think you might see more moves towards that, because that's essentially what Republicans campaigned on in the last 7 years.
And they can all agree on that,
right? And the exact quote was repeal Obamacare root and branch. And so what you're seeing right now with the Senate health care bill and with the previous bill, the American Health Care Act under the House, it's really just Obamacare light. I mean, you may get rid of the regulations like the individual and the employer mandates that most of the individuals who they're, the CBO talks about 23 to 24 million people losing health insurance. A lot of that is because people are going to opt out of getting health insurance rather than facing a federal penalty. And for young people, you get a government subsidized plan. You're not really getting a whole lot of coverage. I had Obamacare. I had an appendectomy. I owe at least $7,000 from a $23,000 bill. Like, that's not something I want to face, and I'm sure a lot of young people agree with me in that regard.
Right. Well, let's hope that is the debate and the discussion next week, rather than off-putting tweets from the president or whoever else. Right. Suraj, we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on. Still ahead.